The diner was almost empty, the kind of place that stayed open not because it made money late at night, but because someone always needed it. Neon lights buzzed softly above the windows, washing the booths in tired red and blue. Outside, the highway stretched dark and quiet, broken only by the occasional hiss of a passing truck. Inside, the air smelled like burnt coffee and fryer oil that had been changed too late. Maya wiped down the counter with slow, practiced movements. It was past midnight, that hour when time felt thinner, like anything could slip through if you weren't paying attention. She had been on her feet for nearly 10 hours, her smile worn down to something polite but careful. Late shifts taught you that friendliness could be dangerous, that reading people mattered more than pleasing them. There were only 2 customers left. A couple asleep in a booth near the window, their plates half finished, and a man sitting alone at the counter. He had arrived 20 minutes ago, silent, precise. No small talk. Black coat, expensive but understated. Clean hands. A watch that didn't belong in a place like this. Maya had learned to notice details. Years of waitressing had trained her eyes better than any class ever could. This man didn't fidget, didn't check his phone, didn't rush. He sat like he owned the space without needing to prove it. She poured him a refill of coffee without being asked. He nodded once, not looking at her, as if he already knew she would. "Thanks," he said quietly. His voice was calm, controlled, the kind that didn't need to rise to be heard. Maya felt a flicker of unease she couldn't explain. Not fear exactly. Awareness. The same feeling she got crossing a street just before a car sped past. She stepped back behind the counter, letting the rhythm of work steady her breathing. The bell above the door jingled. Maya looked up automatically, ready with a greeting that never came out. 2 men walked in, their jackets zipped too high, eyes scanning the room too fast. They didn't look hungry. They didn't look tired. They looked like they were counting exits. Her stomach tightened. The men paused just inside the doorway. One of them smiled at the couple sleeping in the booth, then at Maya. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was measured, thin. The other man's gaze went straight to the customer at the counter. Time slowed, stretching into something heavy. Maya's eyes followed the second man's hand. It moved toward his jacket, slow but certain. She saw the outline before she consciously understood it. The shape beneath the fabric. The intention behind it. Her heart slammed hard enough to make her dizzy. "Don't move!" she shouted. The words tore out of her before fear could stop them. Her voice cracked through the diner, sharp and loud, echoing off metal and glass. The man at the counter froze instantly. Coffee sloshed, spilling onto the counter, but he didn't react. The 2 men near the door stiffened, surprised. Surprise was everything. "What did you say?" one of them snapped. Maya's hands shook, but she kept them visible, palms open. Her eyes never left the man's jacket. "You," she said, pointing. "Don't do it." The room felt like it might explode. For a second, no one moved. The sleeping couple stirred, confused, lifting their heads. The man at the counter slowly turned his face toward Maya for the first time. His eyes met hers, dark and unreadable. Behind that calm surface, something sharp flickered. Not panic. Calculation. He understood. "Easy," he said softly, not to the men but to Maya. "You did good." The words steadied her more than she expected. Sirens wailed in the distance. Faint, but growing closer. Someone must have hit a panic button. Maybe her. Maybe fate. The men at the door cursed under their breath. One backed toward the exit. The other hesitated, eyes darting between Maya and the man at the counter. He made a decision too late. "Forget it," he muttered, grabbing his partner's arm. They bolted out into the night, the bell screaming above them as the door slammed shut. The diner went silent again, broken only by Maya's breathing and the hum of the lights. Her knees gave out. She gripped the counter to keep from falling. The man at the counter stood slowly, placing a steadying hand on the surface, careful not to startle her. "You all right?" he asked. Maya nodded, though she wasn't sure it was true. They had a gun. Yes, he said. They did. Police lights flashed outside moments later, painting the walls in blue and red. Officers poured in, voices loud, questions sharp. Maya answered as best she could, her words tumbling over each other. She watched the man from the corner of her eye as they questioned him separately. The officer's tone changed when they spoke to him. Respect crept in where suspicion should have been. Papers were checked. Names were exchanged quietly. That was when Maya realized something was wrong. Or rather, that everything was. One officer nodded to the man, almost deferential. You're free to go, sir. We'll handle it from here, sir. The man put on his coat, smooth and unhurried. Before leaving, he stopped in front of Maya. The diner felt suddenly smaller, like the walls were listening. You saved my life, he said. Do you know that? Maya swallowed. I saw something. A faint smile touched his mouth, but it didn't reach his eyes. Most people don't. He placed a folded bill on the counter. It was far too much for a cup of coffee. Then he leaned closer, his voice low. My name is Luca. The name landed like a weight. She didn't know why, only that she would remember it. Be careful tonight, he added. And tomorrow. Then he walked out into the flashing lights, leaving Maya alone with a truth she didn't yet understand. She had just stepped into a world that would not let her go. Maya didn't sleep when she got home. She sat on the edge of her bed, shoes still on, uniform wrinkled, staring at the wall as if it might explain what had just happened. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the man's hand moving toward his jacket, the shape beneath the fabric. The way Luca had looked at her when she shouted sharp, assessing, already 10 steps ahead. By morning, the diner incident was already being filed away by the world as nothing. No shots fired. No injuries. A routine police report. But for Maya, everything felt altered, like the air itself had shifted. She went back to work that evening because she didn't know what else to do. Rent didn't care about adrenaline or fear. The diner looked the same neon hum, same cracked vinyl booths, but she didn't. She noticed exits faster. Reflections in windows. People's hands. Her manager pulled her aside. You did good last night, he said, voice low. Cops said it could have been bad. Maya nodded. She didn't tell him how bad it already felt. The first few hours passed quietly. Trucks came and went. Coffee poured. Plates clattered. Just as her shoulders began to loosen, the bell over the door rang again. A man walked in who did not belong to the night shift crowd. He wore a clean gray suit, no tie, his hair perfectly combed. Not rich loud, rich careful. He looked around once, calmly, then chose a booth where he could see the entire room. Maya's chest tightened. He didn't look dangerous. That was worse. She approached with a menu. Coffee? She asked automatically. Yes, he replied. And please tell Maya that Luca sends his regards. Her hand froze mid-motion. How do you? He's waiting outside, the man said gently. He'd like to speak with you. Only if you're willing. Only if you're willing. The words sounded polite. They weren't a question. Maya glanced toward the windows. A black car sat across the lot, engine running. Luca leaned against it, coat open, posture relaxed. Watching the diner the way a hunter watched a clearing. Her instincts screamed no. Her curiosity whispered louder. I can't leave my shift, she said. The man smiled. Already handled. Her manager appeared behind the counter, looking confused. Maya, you're good to take 10. Something about family? Family. That word didn't belong anywhere near Luca. Maya stepped outside, the cool air biting her skin. Luca straightened as she approached. Up close, he looked even more composed than the night before. Clean shave. No visible weapons. No visible fear. You shouldn't have come back here, he said, not unkindly. You sent someone inside my workplace, Maya replied. Her voice shook, but she didn't stop. You shouldn't do that. A flicker of respect crossed his face. Fair. They stood in silence for a moment, the diner glowing behind them like a fragile bubble of safety. Those men last night, Luca said finally. They weren't amateurs. They won't try that again. Maya crossed her arms. Why were they there? Because I was, he answered. No apology. No explanation. She let out a shaky breath. I don't want to be involved in whatever this is. You already are, he said quietly. But that's not why I'm here. He reached into his coat slowly, deliberately, watching her reaction. She tensed. He noticed and stopped. May I? He asked. She nodded once. He pulled out an envelope. Thick, heavy. He held it out to her. I don't want your money, Maya said immediately. I know, Luca replied. This isn't payment. Then what is it? Protection, he said. For the inconvenience my life caused yours. Maya laughed once, sharp and humorless. Your life almost got me killed. Yes, he said. Which is why I'm making sure it doesn't. She looked at the envelope but didn't take it. I didn't save you because I wanted something. That's why you're dangerous, Luca said softly. And why you matter. The words sent a chill through her. I'm just a waitress, she said. He shook his head. No, you're someone who saw the truth and acted. People like that don't stay invisible for long. A car passed on the highway, its headlights washing over them. For a second, she imagined walking away, pretending none of this existed. Why me? She asked. Because you didn't run, he replied. And because now others know you didn't. That was the moment fear truly set in. Not the loud, shaking kind, but the deep, sinking kind. The kind that told you the rules had changed without your permission. Luca stepped back, giving her space. You don't owe me anything. You won't see me again if you don't want to. She met his eyes. And if I do? Then I make sure nothing touches you, he said. Ever. The confidence in his voice was absolute. Terrifying. Reassuring. Maya thought of the gun. The men. The way the officer had called him sir. Go back inside, Luca said. Finish your shift. I won't contact you again unless you ask. He turned toward the car, then paused. But understand this. Last night was not an accident. It was a message. And you stood in the middle of it. He drove away, leaving Maya staring after him, envelope still untouched on the hood of the car. Inside the diner, the neon lights buzzed on, steady and indifferent. Maya picked up the envelope with trembling hands. She had a choice to make, and choices, she was beginning to understand, were the most dangerous things of all. Maya didn't open the envelope that night. She slid it into the bottom drawer of her kitchen cabinet, beneath old menus and unpaid bills, as if hiding it could undo the fact that it existed. Sleep came in short, broken pieces. Every sound outside her apartment made her sit up. Every shadow felt watched. By morning, the news had already moved on. No mention of the diner. No mention of the men. Whatever Luca was, he knew how to erase footprints. Maya went to work anyway. That was the first mistake. The diner felt different now, not because it had changed, but because she had. She noticed eyes lingering longer than before. A man at the counter who asked too many questions about her schedule. A woman in a booth who watched her instead of the menu. None of it was obvious. That was what made it worse. Being seen didn't mean being famous. It meant being noticed by the wrong people. Around midnight, her manager waved her over. Two guys asking about you, he said. Said they're old friends. Her stomach dropped. Where are they? Booth 6. Maya glanced over. Two men sat there casual, smiling. They looked nothing like the ones from the night of the ambush. These were cleaner. Smarter. The kind who didn't need guns in public. She forced herself to walk over. Can I get you anything? She asked. One of them looked up slowly. We're good. We just wanted to say hello. I don't know you, Maya replied. The other man chuckled. You don't need to. We know you. The words landed heavy. You work late, the first man continued. Alone sometimes. Maya felt her pulse in her throat. Order something or leave. The smile faded. Relax. We're just curious. About what? About why Luca took an interest in you. Silence swallowed the booth. I don't know what you're talking about, Maya said. The man leaned closer. See, that's the problem. You don't know what you stepped into. You did a brave thing. But bravery has a cost. Maya straightened. You're scaring my customers. He smiled again. Good. She turned away before her legs gave out. Her hands shook as she poured coffee, every instinct screaming to run. She didn't see them leave. She only noticed when they were gone. That night, Maya opened the envelope. Inside wasn't just money. It was a prepaid phone. A single number written on a card. Luca's handwriting was neat, controlled. If you feel unsafe, use this. She stared at it for a long time. 2 days later, someone followed her home. Not close enough to confront. Not far enough to miss. A man in a hoodie. Different route, same distance. When she stopped, he stopped. When she crossed the street, he crossed. Maya ducked into a laundromat, heart hammering. She waited 10 minutes. When she stepped back outside, the street was empty. That was when she made the call. The phone rang once. I was wondering when you would, Luca said. I'm being watched, Maya whispered. I know, he replied calmly. Are you alone? Yes. Stay where you are. 10 minutes later, a black SUV rolled to a stop outside the laundromat. Luca stepped out, flanked by 2 men who looked like walls in human form. They didn't scan the street. They already knew where everything was. Luca approached her slowly, hands visible. Did anyone touch you? No, Maya said. Not yet. His jaw tightened. They're pushing boundaries. She hugged her arms around herself. I didn't agree to this. No, he said softly. You didn't. He gestured toward the car. Get in. I don't want. Maya, he interrupted gently, but firmly. This is not a request. She hesitated, then got in. The interior smelled like leather and something expensive she couldn't name. Luca sat across from her, watching her like a doctor watched a patient. You need to understand something, he said. Saving me made you visible. Visibility creates leverage. Some people want to use it. I just yelled, she said. That's it. In my world, Luca replied. That's everything. She laughed bitterly. So what now? I disappear. No, he said. You live your life, but smarter. The car stopped outside her apartment. Luca didn't get out. I can assign protection, he continued. Quiet. You won't notice them. I don't want guards, Maya said. Then you'll learn, he replied. Who to trust, where not to go, and when to call me. She looked at him. Why are you really doing this? Luca was silent for a long moment. Because I don't forget debts, he said finally. And because the people circling you won't stop unless they believe you're untouchable. That's supposed to make me feel better? No, he said honestly. It's supposed to keep you alive. Maya stepped out of the car. Before closing the door, she paused. Those men at the diner, she asked. They wanted you dead. Yes. And now? They failed, Luca said. Which means they'll try differently. She swallowed. And me? He met her eyes. You're the variable they didn't plan for. The SUV pulled away, leaving Maya standing in the dark. Inside her apartment, she locked the door, then slid down against it, heart racing. The city outside felt louder now. Closer. She had been seen. And once you were seen, there was no going back. Maya started changing her life in small ways first. She left work earlier, took different routes home, sat where she could see doors, mirrors, reflections. It wasn't fear that drove her anymore. It was awareness. The kind you couldn't unlearn once it settled in your bones. What unsettled her most wasn't the watching. It was the absence of it. Some nights, the street outside her apartment felt too quiet. Cars slowed, then moved on. Shadows shifted, then vanished. She never saw Luca's men, but she felt them the way you felt pressure before a storm. 3 days passed without incident. Then Luca showed up again. This time, he didn't send someone ahead. He didn't call. He simply appeared at the diner during her shift, sitting in a booth like any other customer. Same calm posture, same controlled stillness. Maya froze when she saw him. You said you wouldn't contact me unless I asked, she said when she reached his table. I didn't, Luca replied. I came for coffee. She didn't smile. You don't drink diner coffee. A corner of his mouth lifted. I do now. She poured his cup anyway, hands steady despite the tightness in her chest. Why are you really here? Because someone crossed a line, he said. Her breath caught. Who? Not you, he answered. Yet. He leaned back slightly, lowering his voice. One of my rivals sent men to speak with you. That wasn't permission. That was provocation. Maya felt cold. The two at booth 6? Yes. They scared me, she said. They wanted to, Luca replied. Fear makes people sloppy. And you? Maya asked. What does fear do to you? Luca studied her for a long moment. It reminds me where the edges are. She set the coffee down harder than necessary. Then tell me where mine are. The question surprised him. That much was clear. You don't lie for me, Luca said finally. You don't carry messages. You don't keep secrets that aren't yours. And you don't let anyone use your name to reach me. And if someone tries? You walk away, he said. And you call me. That sounds like involvement, Maya replied. No, Luca said quietly. That's containment. She exhaled slowly. You can't protect me by owning me. His eyes sharpened. I don't own people. Then stop acting like my life is a chessboard, she snapped. The diner seemed to hold its breath. Luca's men weren't visible, but Maya knew they were close. She expected anger, threats. Instead, Luca nodded once. You're right, he said. And that's why you're still safe. That wasn't comfort. But it wasn't a lie either. Later that night, after her shift ended, Luca waited outside again. This time, she didn't hesitate before stepping toward him. Why didn't you disappear after the diner? She asked. Most men like you would. Most men like me don't get saved by strangers, he replied. She crossed her arms. I don't want blood on my hands. You don't have any, Luca said. But you're close enough to the fire to feel the heat. Car pulled into the lot too fast. Maya stiffened. Luca's body shifted instantly, positioning himself between her and the headlights. The car slowed, then drove past. See, Luca said calmly. That's a line. They test. I respond. And if I say I'm done? Maya asked. Luca turned to face her fully. Then I pull back. Completely. She searched his face. And what happens to me? That depends, he said, on whether they believe you're still connected to me. The truth settled heavy in her chest. So the safest thing, she said slowly, is for them to believe I am. Yes, Luca replied, but only from a distance. You don't step closer. You don't cross my world's lines. And you? She asked. What lines won't you cross? Luca's voice dropped. Yours. The words hung there, quiet, dangerous, sincere. Maya realized then that the greatest risk wasn't the men watching her. It was the fact that Luca was trying not to pull her closer, and that restraint cost him something. She stepped back. I need time. You have it, he said. As he walked away, Maya understood something with painful clarity. Lines didn't protect you because they existed. They protected you because someone chose not to cross them. And eventually, someone always did. Maya realized the moment she stopped feeling surprised by Luca's presence was the moment everything changed. Protection, she learned, didn't arrive loudly. It settled in quietly, like an extra breath you didn't remember taking, but missed when it was gone. For a week, nothing happened. No men, no shadows, no calls. The diner returned to its ordinary rhythm. Coffee refills, late-night truckers, the soft exhaustion of people just trying to get through another shift. Maya almost convinced herself she'd imagined the danger. Then one night, her manager didn't show up. The diner stayed open anyway. It always did. By midnight, only Maya and a teenage dishwasher remained. The air felt wrong. Too still. Too empty. The bell over the door rang. 3 men entered. They didn't rush. They didn't scan the room. They walked like they belonged there. One locked the door behind them. Maya felt the line in her chest go cold. This is a bad idea, she said. her voice steady despite the panic pounding through her. One of the men smiled. "We're not here to hurt you. That's never how this starts," Maya replied. The tallest man stepped closer. "We just want you to make a call." She shook her head. "I don't work for anyone." "We know," he said. "That's why this matters." Her fingers curled beneath the counter. She thought of the phone in her pocket. The line Luca had drawn. The line she had promised not to cross. The man leaned in. "Tell him to stand down. Tell him you're done. We just need to hear it." Maya understood then. This wasn't about Luca's power. It was about hers. If she called, she became leverage. If she didn't, she became a message. "I won't," she said. The smile disappeared. Before the man could speak again, the diner lights flickered once, then steadied. The door unlocked. The men froze. Luca walked in alone. No rush, no visible weapon, just presence. "You're in the wrong place," he said calmly. The tallest man laughed, nervous now. "You don't own her." "No," Luca replied. "But you don't threaten civilians." The air shifted. Heavy. Final. "Leave," Luca said. They did. No violence. No shouting. Just retreat. When the door closed behind them, Maya's knees finally gave out. Luca caught her before she hit the floor, steady and careful. "I didn't call," she whispered. "I know," Luca said. "That's why I came." She pulled back, meeting his eyes. "You were watching." "Yes." "You crossed the line," she said. Luca nodded. "I chose to." Maya stood, heart racing. "This doesn't end unless I decide how." Luca waited. "I don't want guards," she continued. "I don't want money. I don't want your world." "And yet," Luca said gently, "your world touched mine." She took a breath. "Protection shouldn't be something done to me. It should be something I agree to." Silence stretched. "Then choose," Luca said. Maya looked around the diner. The place that had been her whole life. The place where everything began. "I choose distance," she said. "But not denial. You protect me when danger is real. Not to control me. Not to claim me." Luca inclined his head. "Agreed. And when this ends," she added, "it ends." A pause. Then, "Yes." They stood there, two people bound by a moment neither had asked for. Maya realized something then. Protection wasn't about power. It was about restraint. About choosing not to use power unless it was necessary. Luca turned to leave. "Maya," he said at the door. "Yes." "You changed the outcome the night you spoke," he said. "Not just mine. Yours." When he was gone, the diner felt quiet again. But this time, Maya wasn't afraid of being seen. She had chosen where the line was. And for the first time since that night, the world felt balanced again.